Hey, what up, Dodgers Nation? Doug McCain here. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. Should the Dodgers make a trade for a bullpen piece? Should they sign Zack Britton? We're going to dive into that in just a second. But quick reminder for all things Dodger baseball all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. And if you really want to support the channel and you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, I want your takes down below in the comment section. Today's Dodgers Nation question of the day: on a scale of 1 to 10, how concerned are you about this bullpen, and should the Dodgers sign Zack Britton or trade for another reliever? Let me know down below. And for all latest Dodgers news, head over to DodgersNation.com. So yes, it's still extremely early this season, and the sample size is smaller than Jose Altuve's pinky toe, but still, the early returns on the Dodgers pen haven't been great. But you know I bring my facts to the fight, so let's take a look at what the numbers say about the Dodgers bullpen through 10 games. So first, the good. A 5% walk rate. That's good for first in the league. A .28 home runs per 9. That's good for third. A 2.97 FIP. That's good for fourth. Now the bad. A 1.29 whip. That's around middle of the pack at 14th. And then there's the ugly. A 4.68 ERA. That's 20th. A 4.74 expected FIP. That's good for 22nd. A 3.33 BABIP. That's 24th in the league. Last season, the Dodgers had a 2.60 BABIP, so that's 73 points higher. And what I say before the season, this was a number you want to look at because the Dodgers, they can't manipulate the shift like they did in years past. The Dodgers use the shift better than any team in all of Major League Baseball, but now that you have a restriction on the shift, they don't have the same advantage. And one of the most glaring numbers is this 19.4% strikeout rate. That's good for 24th in the league. Now, for comparison's sake, last year they had a 26.7 strikeout rate. That was good for 4th. In 2021, a 25.5 strikeout rate. Good for 11th. 2020, 24.3%. That was good for 13th. Well, they're towards the bottom this season. And yes, they're still without Daniel Hudson, who had a strikeout rate of over 30% last season. But also, if you look at Evan Phillips, last year had an 11 strikeouts per 9. This year it's down to 3. Alex Vesia's strikeouts last year were at 13.1. Even Craig Kimbrell was at 10.8 strikeouts per 9. So the strikeout number is down. They're not missing as many bats. And when you put the ball in play, bad things are eventually going to happen. And you also add the fact that this team, this pitching staff in general, they've done a poor job of holding runners. Over the weekend against the Diamondbacks, the D-backs 8 for 8 in stolen base attempts, 5 for 5 yesterday. So that's also a problem. And yes, they are filling the zone with strikes, but you're seeing this team struggle to put away hitters. Too many hits with 2 outs, too many hits with 2 strikes, just not able to finish guys off, and that continues to be a problem. But yeah, this bullpen, they need another arm that can go out there and miss bats and dominate hitters. When they traded for Chris Martin in 24 2/3 innings, he had a 1.46 ERA and a 12.4 strikeouts per 9. So I think they're absolutely going to hit the trade market, but for now, they have to tread water and try to figure things out. So yeah, that isn't great. And a lot of guys on this pen for years, they've pitched to contact. The Dodgers have relied heavily on utilizing the shift. They were the best in the league from 2015 to 2023, had a 243 batting average on balls in play. So they use the shift better than any team in baseball. Well, things have changed, and guys have also gotten off to slow starts. Yancy Almonte, he struggled with command. Alex Vesia, he struggled with command. He's not landing his slider for strikes. Brusdar Graterol, he's had some rocky appearances, looked better last night. Also, same thing goes with Alex Vesia. Before his last appearance, he was pretty solid against the Rockies. But yeah, it is definitely a work in progress. This bullpen definitely is the shakiest group of this Dodgers team. Yes, you have Evan Phillips, who is going to be outstanding, who they basically have made the closer at this point. And then you also have seen Phil Bickford touching 97 on the corner. I mean, he definitely looks better this season. But for the most part, they're relying on guys to come back and really assume some of these key roles. Guys like Daniel Hudson, who's still making his way back from an ACL injury, who they hope to be back at some point in May. Could they get Blake Trinan back later on towards the end of 2023? That's a possibility. Could they get JP Fireeisen back towards August? Yes, that's a possibility. One of the names that could help them sooner is Alex Reyes. Alex Reyes is a guy that can miss bats. He's electric out there on the mound. If he looks like the pitcher he was in 2021, he is going to to have some high leverage opportunities. Now, one of the biggest concerns that Dodgers fans have had regarding this bullpen so far is the lefties, and the left-handed pitchers, they haven't looked great so far. It starts right at the top with Alex Vesia. Vesia is supposed to be the Dodgers' top high leverage arm. He was that last season, and yes, so far he has gotten off to a rocky start. Yes, like I just said, he has struggled with command. His fastball isn't as electric as it looked last season, and he's not a high velo guy, but his fastball just plays up, especially when he's working the top of the zone and avoiding the heart of the plate. But I will remind you that he did struggle at times last season. Last year, he got off to a strong start. He allowed no runs in his first 10 appearances. He had 11 punch-outs to 1 walk. But in May and June, he definitely was going through it. He had a 4.15 ERA in May, a 4.22 ERA in June. In June, he had a 2.063 whip. He walked 9 hitters. So he was definitely struggling with command like we're seeing right now. But after that, after the All-Star break, he was outstanding. He shoved the rest of the way. He was lights out. In his final 25 2/3 innings, he struck out 42 hitters to just 9 walks. So he's a guy who in the past we've seen him go through stretches where he hasn't had it from a command standpoint, but then he starts to fill up the zone, starts working the top of the zone with that fastball, and you start to see him really just go through long stretches of dominance. So Alex Vesia, I wouldn't mess with Vesia at the moment. I think he still has a chance to be the Dodgers' top dog as a lefty for the entire season. Now, you also have Caleb Ferguson, who has looked a little rocky to himself, struggling with some arm side command, especially on that elevated fastball. He needs to land his breaking stuff. He needs to find that command, but still from a stuff perspective, a pure velocity standpoint, the way his stuff is breaking, I'm still confident that he is going to be able to find it. It's just a matter of harnessing it. And then there is Victor Gonzalez, who has lost a ton of weight. He's put himself in a position where if he does get another opportunity, physically, he's in the best place he's been in years, but still, he has really struggled. He did not look good during spring training, and there's a lot of doubts that maybe he's not going to really be that guy in the future. But let's say they have to turn to Victor Gonzalez. It is an interesting option, but still, I wouldn't bank on him coming up and being the guy we saw in 2020. But there's also a guy that remains unsigned. He is a lefty, and his name is Zack Britton. And you guys have asked me about Zach Britton for weeks now. The former All-Star reliever is without a team, but Ken Rosenthal reported a few weeks ago that the Dodgers were one of the teams that scouted him during his showcase. Rosenthal tweeted, "Teams that scouted free agent reliever Zach Britton during his throwing session today in Florida per source: Giants, Angels, Mets, Dodgers, Cubs, Rangers." So let's break out that Dodgers rumor meter. And although this is not really a rumor, the Dodgers, of course, were in fact there to scout Zach Britton. This rumor applies to, are they even interested in him? And I'll give them a 2.5 Dodger dogs. I think at 2.5 Dodger dogs, I think they were there because they're always doing their due diligence to see, will they take a flyer on a guy that is available? Because the way the Dodgers see it is if they can sign a guy, especially on the cheap, they don't have to part ways with prospect capital. They like to stash these guys, develop them, whether as contributors, guys that can help and be a part of this team, or guys that can flip in trade. So you want to keep as many of those prospects as you possibly can. And the Dodgers know that if they sign him, they could probably get him for very cheap on a minor league deal where they could allow him to get himself in shape and see what he has. So really, it's a no-risk move if the Dodgers were to sign him. But look, the reality is the chances of him getting back to being an impact reliever once again are low. He's 35 years old. He's been limited by injuries over the past few seasons. He underwent Tommy John surgery. He battled a shoulder ailment. He's been limited to a combined 19 innings since the start of the 2021 season, and in his limited action, he's struggled mightily. He's posted a 6.16 ERA, a 72 ERA plus, where he walked more batters than he struck out with 20 walks to 17 strikeouts. Now, the last time he was fully healthy, he was very effective. He had a 2.28 ERA plus in 20 appearances during the pandemic-shortened 2020 season, but he just hasn't been able to get healthy. Now, it's not a surprise to me that he's drawing interest from teams around the league, but still, I just don't see him being the guy that he once was. Now, there was a point in time where his sinker was one of the most effective pitches in baseball. It was averaging 96.5 miles per hour. His ground ball rate was around 80%. I mean, it was a lethal pitch, very effective, but still, I just don't think think that's going to happen for him at this stage. And also, too, I think the Dodgers, they're looking for dominant relievers, guys that are going to play up in the postseason. And also, they've gotten bitten by a lot of bad deals over the last few seasons. Look at Cole Hamels. They signed him. They weren't able to get anything from Cole Hamels. They got Cole in their stockings with Hamels. And then, do I need to bring up Danny Duffy? Are we sure that he ever really existed, right? So the Dodgers have taken chances on some of these guys only to see them not work out. Maybe they don't want to invest the time and the resources. It's not about the money. It's about having the coaching and the development. Do they really want to go through that once again? So to me, it's one of those situations, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I think that's kind of what the Dodgers are going through. And also, too, they're waiting to see how this bullpen market develops. I see a lot of people rushing to Twitter saying the Dodgers need to trade for this guy, need to trade for that guy. Well, you don't want to trade for bullpen pieces at the beginning of the season. Just look at what happened last year when they traded A.J. Pollock for Craig Kimbrell. And yes, Kimbrell, he wasn't as bad as a lot of Dodger fans make him out to be. Yes, he was Craig Crumble at times. He had 5 blown saves in 27 opportunities. The ERA was at 3.75. Yes, the whip was high. And he just wasn't that all-star closer that all the Dodger fans were hoping that he would be. But still, he did eat some innings. He was able to post, and that definitely helped preserve this bullpen. But still, yeah, I mean, he just wasn't the guy. I mean, Kimbrelsa, you had to let him go. Now, he's, of course, struggling with the Phillies already. But still, like, my point I'm trying to make, though, is that the Dodgers, they made the mistake of trading for Kimbrel before the season, before they were able to see how he looked that year. In bullpen pieces, they're very volatile from year to year, and that's why you wait until mid-season and you make a trade like a Chris Martin trade like the Dodgers did last year, and Chris Martin was fantastic down the stretch. So I think that is what Andrew Friedman and the Dodgers are going to do. They're going to see if Daniel Hudson can get back and get healthy. They're going to see how some of these other guys progress, the Alex Reyes of the world, and we're going to find out if they have to go out there and pick someone else up. And I think they will. I think at the deadline, you'll see them make a move for someone to try to bolster this bullpen. I wouldn't be shocked if they did that, but you don't want to do it too early on in the season. And who are the Dodgers going to be after? Well, more often than not, they don't want to bring in a bullpen piece that's under tons of team control, because one, that means you have to part ways with more prospects, and two, you just don't know what you're going to get from a reliever from year to year. There's a lot of one-hit wonders when it comes to relievers, a lot of Hanson Mbops, right? But still, you want to get quality out there. So they're going to be looking for guys that have maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years of team control at the most, guys on expiring deals. And right now, you have to let that market form. You have to let that market just kind of simmer a little bit to see what's really out there. And look, the Dodgers, they do have pieces in this bullpen. They just need guys to adjust. I think Vesia adjusting to the pitch clock. Like I've been saying on a few shows now, last year he had the 8th longest time in between pitches at 24.8 seconds, and he told me that was going to be an adjustment. So let him adjust and then let him get on another run. And also, they still have Evan Phillips, and Evan Phillips still looks like one of the best relievers in all of Major League Baseball. They don't necessarily have to go out there and trade for a big name or anything like that. And I can tell you, period, point blank, you're not going to see Andrew Friedman go out there and give up a lot of prospects for like a Bednar type or anyone like that. He does not like to spend big on bullpens because he knows that he can build them. Look, bullpen pieces are like running backs in the NFL or things like that. You can find them, you can develop them, and they're not as hard to come by as a starting pitcher or an impact bat. So, yeah, I mean, definitely they help, and you need them, especially with Major League Baseball in the postseason increasingly becoming a bullpen game. But right now, it's about getting healthy and having the talent that they do have really just pitch to their capabilities at this moment. So, for me, I'm not very high on Zack Britton, and as far as my concern level for this bullpen right now, I'm going to give it about a 6.5. I'm going to give it a 6.5 because there still is a lot of talent, and guys are still adjusting to the new pitch clock. And look, Daniel Hudson, we're going to blink, and it's going to be May, hopefully, and he'll be back. And once they have that solidified closer spot and guys kind of fall in line to where they are in the pecking order, I think that's going to help bring some continuity to this pen, and I think they're going to benefit from that. But yeah, I mean, look, Benny Brusdar Gratterall to really continue to work on that out pitch, to find a way to throw that slider. So yes, the Dodgers, I think, will go out there and pick up an arm at some point during the season. Injuries, too, are always a factor that could make it a necessity. But still, you're going to find this year's Chris Martin, but still, we don't know who this year's Chris Martin is. And I'm sure the organization, they're hard at work trying to identify guys. I mean, looking for guys that can strike guys out, high spin rate, guys that can command the zone. They don't like to issue free passes. So I'm sure they're hard at work, but really right now it's about getting guys healthy. Because look, if Alex Reyes comes back, major X factor. Blake Trinan, JP Fireisen later in the year, Walker Buehler. I mean, there's so many questions, more questions than an episode of Jeopardy for this bullpen. And look, if they feel like they're not going to come back and have an impact, then I think you'll see them explore the trade market a little more aggressively. But for me, I'm not very high on the idea of Zack Britton. I think at this stage of his career, we'll probably most likely see another Cole Hamels or Danny Duffy situation. I mean, he'll probably get an opportunity, but I just don't see him having a huge impact this season. But let me know down below in the comments section, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your concern level? Mine right now is at a 6.5, and that's going to change when guys get healthy. But let me know yours. And also, do you like the idea of the Dodgers signing Zack Britton? Let me know down below in the comments section. My name is Doug McCain. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DMac_LA. For all things Dodger baseball all season long, be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and if you want to see us post even more Dodgers content, smash that like button. And as always, think blue, bleed blue, and I'm out.